So what is Startup Britain? It was set up last May by a group of entrepreneurs under the umbrella of the big society. Their idea was to kick-start the engine of recovery, which is, and everybody in this room knows it, is small business. It's small business that start the recovery, and it's big business that ride on the back and get all the figures. Basically, it's where entrepreneurs help other businesses, whether they be established, startups or pre-starts, to get a foothold and get success. This will be part of the Bury St Edmunds Business Festival on May the 14th. Tim Meadows-Smith, who is a Startup Britain, which is the overriding organisation, board member, has been appointed as the champion for Startup Suffolk. After just 2 months in Suffolk, we've recruited over 50 volunteers, and I'm proud to say that I'm one of them, and I'm prepared to give my time and effort to this scheme because I believe in it. We're volunteering to help startups, established business and pre-starts improve their chances of success. Do you know that there'll be over 4,000 new ventures will start in Suffolk in 2012? Okay? 2,700 will still be here in 3 years. But only 5%, 5% will remain after 5 years with the same idea and the same business model. So that means the constant connection with customers and the ability to change is paramount. Success comes from being well prepared, working hard and learning from your mistakes. So it is said that success leaves clues. Yeah? And the opposite is just as true. So you can come to Startup Suffolk and learn from other people's mistakes and save you doing it. It's a shortcut. That's why self-improvement books are so popular, because we learn from what other people have done. And as more experienced business people, sharing your mistakes with others can help others, and it can also drive people to your market. So in the spirit of Startup Britain, we'd like you to come to Startup Suffolk and please become and be inspired. If you can, it would be absolutely wonderful if you could bring somebody else with you or recommend it to a startup or a pre-start, or especially if you hear somebody say, oh, I wish I had time to do that. So what do you get? You'll hear from at least 20 experienced award-winning business people in the forum, and you'll get an opportunity to ask them questions and have your questions debated by the hall. You'll have an opportunity for a one-to-one talk with these people afterwards. There are 4 forums during the day, and there's space in the middle where you'll get time to talk to people, network and talk to the speakers. Sponsored by Lloyds TSB, Lovewell Blake and New Media Business Group. So you'll pay £35, but when you've been and attended for the day, £20 will be paid back into your account. So it's £15, and they're even giving you lunch. Startup Suffolk is there to help, support and encourage the small business market. Startup Suffolk is ours, so use it to help drive the local economy. I look forward to seeing you there on May the 14th. Did I say it's a fantastic networking opportunity? Yeah, I think I did.
Just a little bit of a background about Fred Olsen Business Travel. We've actually been in operation for the past 24 years, and we're initially based in London and moved to Ipswich in the 80s, and we've been here ever since. We're an established part of the Norwegian Fred Olsen Group. Corporate travel amounts to roughly £430 billion worldwide. Business ventures of all sizes aimed at forming long-term relationships with foreign partners and clients in order to become financially viable. It's also proven that the need to travel on business is essential in order to consolidate firms, hold negotiations, work out mutual plans and agreements, and maintain relationships as well. Overall, it's fair to say on the whole that people still respond well to face-to-face interaction, so hence why we're all here today. It's proven. It's fairly common for a company not using a travel management company to rely on the internet, which I'm sure a lot of you do to book your travel regarding business. However, there are a lot of companies that opt for professional travel managers, such as ourselves, and what they do, the companies that use them actually recognise that it's better to use a travel management company rather than utilise the highly skilled staff they already have into spending their time booking. So whilst your staff, be it travel bookers, business travellers, coordinators, secretaries, they're able to comparison shop on the internet, there are a few disadvantages to this. One of them being flexibility. So finding cheap fares is easy, we can all do that on the internet, that's fine. But knowing where to look for a fully flexible fare, or a fare that has certain restrictions, a fare that you might be able to find a fare that is non-refundable but you can make a change to, that's quite difficult to identify, and it can be quite time consuming as well. TMC such as ourselves, travel management companies such as Fred Olsen Business Travel, we're highly skilled, we're trained to identify the best routes, the best way to get there, the quickest way to get there, the cheapest way to get there, which you can't always find yourself. And I think it's unrealistic to expect your secretary or travel booker to be able to source this, because they simply don't have the time. Our business travel department has access to specific deals with an array of airlines, and they aren't always readily available on the internet, so you can come through to us. They're always fully loaded onto our reservation system, and we can offer those options to you. Travel management services such as Fred Olsen Business Travel include core, supporting and added value services. Core services include the management of air, rail, sea and car travel. We're an independent agency, so we're completely unbiased, and we believe that variety is a vital part of our service. We're therefore committed to offering the widest choices when booking all aspects of your travel. In addition to the core service aspect, Fred Olsen Business Travel has a number of more obvious benefits. By taking inquiries from bookers, we enable them to concentrate on their primary employment role. So what usually happens is a booker will email us or phone us, give us their destination and the dates they need to travel, and we'll then email back with some possible solutions. We also offer support if there is a problem. The same concerns travel alerts of any incidents that could affect your travel. We also provide a 24-hour service, so we work during office hours, Monday to Friday, 8:30 till 5:30, and then we have an out-of-hours support service which will help with any questions, if you're not sure what terminal you need to arrive at, if you need to make a change, if you need to make a last-minute booking. The 24-hour service is always on hand to help. If you're not sure about your travel arrangements, one of the major benefits that we can offer is that we can give a hold option. So if you have some prospective dates, say you're going to Hong Kong and you have a few dates in mind, say the 10th of May and then back on the 14th, but you need to make sure with your Hong Kong office that these dates are suitable, we can actually hold the flight for you. So we can hold the flight and the fare, and you can go back, come back in a couple of days, and it's still there for you. That's one of the difficulties with the internet, is that you literally have to commit there and then, or risk paying a higher price or risk losing the flight altogether. We also offer visa service, UK and international rail, car hire, insurance, chauffeur transfers and airport parking, as well as no-frills airlines as well. Most businesses don't only require their travel to be managed, it's also the reporting as well. So if you're using a travel management company such as Fred Olsen Business Travel, we can provide reports on who's where in the world, you may need to know that, how much you've spent in the last month, who's booked in what class, so how many people have booked in business class, how many people have booked in economy class, and obviously monthly statements as well, so you know exactly how much you've spent. We can also forecast as well, so we can give you an idea of how much, if you give us an idea of what the travel is, we can then forecast how much you're likely to spend within that period of time. We work to the highest standards, and we want to ensure that your journey is as positive experience as possible. We know from many years of experience that our customers appreciate the personal touch, and therefore whenever you call us, you will reach one of the 8 friendly team members.
As you know, there's 2 holiday inns in Ipswich. One is a managed account, or a managed hotel, and one is a franchise, and we are the franchisee. Now, if you look at our business, 65% of our business is actually from a 5-mile radius from where I'm standing at this moment of time. That's where our money is coming from. That's how localized we are. And some of you may find that surprising because Holiday Inn is such an international brand. We get that business from, obviously, we've got a wedding trade, we've got events, meeting business. We've just had an £80,000 refurb done on all our meeting rooms upstairs to try and grow that business because you know how important it is for the future. And also we look at our location or our demographic, and we know that all our business is going to grow in this area, and our management company is feeling quite confident that Ipswich is growing. Also, 80% of the staff that work in this hotel was actually born in Ipswich. And the way they're going on, I think I'm going to take a little patch at the back there and probably turn it into a graveyard soon because they want to die here as well. They don't want to leave. Now, this is beneficial, but as you work for hotels, I'm a South African, I've got an Irish surname, I'm a South African, but a lot of people, there's a perception that a lot of overseas workers work in hotels because they're more effective. But like I said, we've just went last month to a Holiday Inn Prize Awards. There were 12 prizes for management excellence, and Ipswich, small hotels we are, 60 bedrooms, took 2 of those prizes. And that was in customer service, with 80% of the staff coming from Ipswich. There's 172 Holiday Inns in this country. So it proves that you can actually do it with the staff you have aboard. And that's why we are your local property, and we want to retain staff. We want to freshen up their training, but retain them. I've got 2 bosses, Holiday Inn, that I had to speak to consistently, even this morning. I had to have a chat to them. And I also work for a company called Q Green. Has anybody heard of them? Now, Q Green is the management company. They're based in Richmond. 3 accountants, Peter Johnson, one of them, actually decided that they are going to start an hotel. How difficult is it to run an hotel or to start an hotel? It can't be that difficult. That's what they thought. So in 2001, 3 of them decided to go to the local bank, get a loan to open up their own hotel from scratch. Okay, what do you think the bank manager told them? Okay, are you crazy? Because they weren't going to target London. They were looking at provincial, what we call provincial hotels, hotels outside of London. Okay. Now, if you put hotels outside of London, it's extremely hard to make a profit out of an hotel outside of London. You have to be determined on seasonal business coming in. You have to be determined on events. You have to have an event room, a extremely strong event room to feed business into you. So what they decided to do is go for the brand Holiday Inn and actually buy a franchise and concentrate on a hotel. This is how successful they are. They just bought their 23rd hotel this year, 10 years after that. It's a Ramada. They've got 2 Marriotts in their portfolio. They've got Days Inn, as well as Holiday Inns. They've also built, from scratch, 3 years ago, the biggest Holiday Inn Express in Europe. The benefits for working for Holiday Inn is the bank will give you money to open a hotel. That's the first thing. Secondly, they will give you a PCR membership. A PCR membership is called Priority Club Rewards, where everybody that stays with us can join free of charge. It's like your Tesco card, your Nectar cards. You could use it, but it's extremely aggressively managed from America. So basically you build points up that you could use at other IHG properties or in the high street. It's very effective. So we get that free of charge with being part of the brand. And also we get one of the biggest sales teams in the world to sell for us. Now if you're going to start your own hotel off the cuff, you're not going to be able, it's going to take you so long to recruit your own sales and staff team and get information from the area that you're actually in. This is all benefits from working for a big brand as themselves. So instead of trying to build their own little hotel from a single property into a bigger property, and it has happened before with the Jarvis brand, they now have 23 hotels by working in conjunction with a big brand. Let them do the work. Let them give you the information. You pay the franchise fees. You're actually your own business. But this is the nice thing about franchisees. Norwich just won the Hotel of the Year for Holiday Inn. They just won 2 of those other 3 prizes. So it's between Ipswich and and Norwich. From those 12 prizes, we took 5 in this area. the demographic of this area, if you consider that's the whole of England, it shows you how good the market possibly is. And that also shows you, if you have a franchise where you can buy into a franchise, you have the courage to go to markets where you traditionally wouldn't look at as a first purchase, or entrust the market to go into. You can. And that gives you the flexibility, and they are paying the rewards for it.
I'm the Mayor of Ipswich. I'm the Mayor of Ipswich for 1 year only during my lifetime. And for that year, I become the civic face of Ipswich. They don't recognise this, they recognise this. It's an awful lot of bling you tend to wear. It's a great honour to actually come here today because I, like most of us, have owned my own business. I've been in business. I started life, you would now call it a modern apprenticeship. I went to a decent school and got O-levels, but when I was a child, the aspiration of going on to university was some 12% of the population, and not the 45 to 50% that it is now. So that wasn't an option open to me. But I did do what became a residential apprenticeship with an international shoe company, and I must admit they did me proud. They taught me the work ethic. They taught me a lot about shoemaking. I could make a pair of shoes, but more importantly, as a very young person, they gave you responsibility. They gave me an awful lot of responsibility. And by the time I was 26, would you believe, I was working in what is now Bangladesh, opening a factory, being not solely in charge. There were 3 of us that were picked up from around the world and dumped in Dhaka and basically said, get on with it. There's a shipload of machinery coming into Chittagong, and you've got to start the factory in Dhaka. In between time, as well as being qualified as a shoemaker, I did some further qualifications and I became what now would be called a management accountant. It was called Cost and Works Accountancy in my day, and it was very, very different. And I became very good at sorting out other people's problems. But Ipswich is a great place. It's a great place to live, and it's a great place to work. It has a lot of assets, and I think Quinton talked about Ipswich and the 5-mile radius, but actually if you look at Ipswich, it's 130,000 people, but you add the travel to work area into Ipswich, you're probably talking at just under half the population of Suffolk. You're talking of some 300,000 people. It is why Ipswich is so very, very important, and why for many, many years it has punched way above its weight. Surprisingly, although we are in a very bad recession at the moment, we are actually still punching above our weight. Things are happening in Ipswich that are not happening in other towns. We've got at Astral Park, not very far from where we are at the moment. It's outside Ipswich, but sees Ipswich as its core, as its centre, and it is a thriving hub of IT and telecommunications development. We've got 2 Olympic teams staying in the town. We've got the Azerbaijanis, I think they're still coming, and we've got the Brazilian gymnastic team staying in the town. It's important, it will bring people here. And a great big perk that's been mentioned already, and I think it's something that we really do need to focus in, the Tour of Britain 2012 starts in Ipswich. Not a stage start, the whole event starts in Ipswich. That will be as big as the Olympics for Ipswich, it will be as big as the Jubilee for Ipswich. It is a very, very big event. A lot of Ipswich development has been built on our forefathers buying assets, buying land that has actually virtually all gone, virtually all been sold. and we've actually put money aside to actually start that process up again. So our future, the future generation of Ipswich councillors and Ipswich Council will have assets that they can develop, and I think that is very, very important. We are going to start building houses again. We haven't built a house for 20 years. We won't actually build them because we haven't got the skills anymore. We haven't got the building department we can service, but we have land that we can develop, and we will actually start building. And I guess the first ones will be started this financial year. Ipswich has a future, it has a good future, and I believe you as the local business community are supporting that future. Thank you very much indeed.
For those that haven't heard anything about Business Suffolk Showcase, there is a little display behind here which I actually took just last week to the ISBA Suffolk Business Exhibition. I was one of the exhibiting companies there, and it was a good turnout, and I met some very interesting people that have a lot of power in the Suffolk business community who dearly want to help and be part of Business Suffolk Showcase. One of those, in fact, was Tim Meadows-Smith, who Paul Johnson was speaking about earlier. Tim has very kindly agreed not only to be one of the guest presenters at Business Suffolk Showcase, but he'll also sit on the steering committee of Business Suffolk Showcase, which at the moment stands just short of 12 heads, and that's what I'm looking to have, 12 heads. That includes Chris Saul of the Federation of Small Businesses, Suffolk branch. Chris, as most people will know, is the chairman of the Suffolk branch. Other people on the steering committee include the likes of Christian Bonn, who was, until recent months, one of the IDB directors of Business Link. And there are a few other key people involved with me in the steering committee. For a few months now, lots of things have been in the planning stage. Many things have been nearly ready to go. Other people have nearly given their support. And I haven't pressed too much so far, but as of Tuesday of next week after the bank holiday, the pressure is then on my shoulders. There isn't another event that's happening in between, like the Suffolk Business Exhibition, that people are concentrating their minds on. It will be Business Suffolk Showcase that will be presented, the marketplace throughout Suffolk and beyond the borders. Any company out there in the whole of East Anglia that serves the needs of the business Suffolk community will be our target as potential sponsors, potential exhibitors, most definitely potential seminar presenters. The seminars that I'll be running, the 40 seminars, will actually have a price structure to the delegates of £7.50 for any seminar. These are quite extended seminars. They're 30 minutes each one, and that will be a 20-minute presentation by the seminar presenter in these rooms. Fantastic venue, and that will be followed by a 10-minute Q&A. The idea of the £7.50 is quite simple. It's a way which I hope will guarantee that we put the bum on the seat. And if they do turn up for that given seminar, they'll be given a voucher for actually £7.50 to be used at the catering area. It's a multifaceted business event that includes an exhibition of about 100 companies. It will include up to 40 seminars, maybe more, and it will definitely include the consultation services if required. And I'm looking for that 2 days. It will be 10 AM to 6 PM each day. It's going to be a hard slog, for want of a better explanation. I've just done 5 hours last week myself, but there again, I'm 60 years of age, and it's not that simple to stand on your own for 5 hours. So hopefully anyone that does get on board with this and becomes an exhibitor, they're not going to stand there for 16 hours on their own. You do need some help if you're going to be there, but I can guarantee you that all the effort will be made to make this a showcase for Suffolk, and on that basis I brought on board a great team who handle the PR side of this, which is Trebuchet. They've been working on the event now for about 2 months, building behind the website, which has been developed by the Virtuoson and Claire and her team in town. The website's up and running. People can go online now. They can see exactly what they feel is right for them as far as the stand is concerned. There's 3 areas at the show. Each of those areas has different price structures, but everyone's guaranteed one thing: you'll be there for 2 days and we'll drive potentially the biggest visitor attendance to any business exhibition held in the whole of East Anglia.